Hi Reddit, this is going to be long, but if you're into betrayal, karma, and a good plot twist, buckle up. For context, I'm a 32-year-old woman, and my husband, Jake, is 35. We've been together for 8 years, married for 6. Or rather, we were. We met in our late 20s, working at the same firm. He was charming, ambitious, always saying the right things. We clicked fast. Within a year, we moved in together. Another year later, he proposed. Everything felt like a dream. We didn't have the most glamorous life, but we were solid. Or so I thought. I always handled our budgeting, paying bills, and planning out vacations. He was more of the big picture guy, more focused on career and long-term goals. I didn't mind, because I trusted him completely. I truly believed we were a team. That's what made what happened all the more devastating. It started subtly. Jake became distant, not cold, just distracted. He started working late more often, was on his phone more, and seemed emotionally checked out. When I asked if everything was okay, he brushed it off. Just stressed about work, he'd say. At first, I believed him. But it kept happening. Then, he started nitpicking things. My cooking, how I cleaned, how I folded laundry. Things he never cared about before. I was starting to feel like a roommate more than a wife. Still, I tried harder. I planned romantic evenings. I cooked his favorite meals. I bought him a smartwatch he had his eye on. He thanked me, but the spark just wasn't there. Eventually, I began to suspect that something deeper was going on. One night, he left his laptop open in our shared home office. He'd gone to the gym, and I just happened to walk past the desk when I noticed his email open. Normally, I respect privacy, but something compelled me to glance at it. I wish I hadn't. What I saw felt like the floor collapsing underneath me. An email chain between him and someone named Thomas Legal, his attorney. Subject line, draft divorce timeline. I stared at the screen, stunned. I clicked on it, heart racing. There it was, in black and white, a plan to divorce me by the end of the month. There were details about asset division, our shared accounts, even notes on how to keep it amicable to avoid suspicion. He wanted to catch me off guard. I was shaking. The man I loved was planning to throw me away like a used napkin. Worse, it was clear from the correspondence that he had been preparing for months, moving funds discreetly, lining up legal counsel, and even requesting a copy of our prenup, which I had signed in good faith 6 years ago. What he didn't know was that I wasn't the clueless housewife he thought I was. I didn't confront him. Not yet. Instead, I went full detective mode. I dug through our bank accounts, found every suspicious transaction, every side account he had opened. He'd been funneling money into a separate checking account under his name only, about $40,000 total. I also discovered he'd transferred the title of his car and even sold some investments that were in both our names. It was clear, he was gearing up to leave me high and dry. Luckily, I wasn't powerless. A while back, my grandmother had passed and left me an inheritance, around $120,000. It had always been in a separate account under my name, untouched. I had also quietly invested a portion into a side business with my cousin that turned out to be quite profitable. Jake never showed interest in my side hustle, so he remained blissfully unaware of the 6-figure savings I had grown from it. I moved fast. First, I met with a lawyer. A really good one. I showed her the emails and the financial trail. She told me the best course of action was to prepare for what was coming while protecting myself. So I did. I opened a new bank account under a different institution. I moved my inheritance and my business profits. I updated all my passwords. I set up 2-factor authentication on everything. Then, I discreetly took photos of all important documents, including our prenup. The prenup, by the way, was tilted slightly in his favor, back when I was in love and didn't imagine needing to protect myself. But it still had protections for me if he was the one initiating divorce without cause. Which he was. Jake sat me down in our kitchen, looking so serious. "Listen, I think we should talk," he began. I nodded calmly. "I've been thinking a lot, and I don't think this marriage is working. I still care about you, but I think we've grown apart." He tried to look regretful. He even reached for my hand. I didn't flinch. "Oh," I said. "I see." He looked surprised at how calm I was. "I want this to be respectful," he continued. "We can work out the financials fairly." I sipped my tea. "Sure. Have your lawyer emailed the details." That caught him off guard. His face twitched. "How did you?" I smiled. "Jake, I know everything. The emails. The secret accounts. The asset transfers. I know you've been planning this for months." He went pale. I stood, walked over to the desk, and pulled out a folder. "Here's what you didn't know. I already retained legal counsel. All of my assets are now protected. Any attempt to touch my funds or the business would be considered fraudulent. And since you're initiating the divorce, per our prenup, I'm entitled to a fair share of our marital property." He sputtered something about me being dramatic and vindictive. I didn't care. "You were planning to screw me over, Jake. You don't get to play the victim now." The divorce process started immediately. Once his lawyer realized I'd already lawyered up and protected myself, they shifted tone real fast. We settled within 6 weeks. I got the house, kept my inheritance and business assets, and got a portion of the marital savings. Jake had to move in with a friend while he figured things out. Turns out, the side account he'd built wasn't enough to support his expensive lifestyle. He also didn't expect me to come out of it stronger. His family reached out, confused and upset. I told them the truth. Jake was planning to ambush me with divorce while draining our finances behind my back. Their silence afterward said it all. A mutual friend later told me that Jake had hoped I would cry, beg, or be too shocked to react. He thought he'd win. Instead, I burned his plan to the ground. It's been a few months. I'm living in the house, running my business, and feeling more like myself than I have in years. I've taken up therapy, yoga, and even signed up for a solo trip abroad next month. Most importantly, I've learned to never ignore gut feelings. And to always have a backup plan. Jake? He's out there licking his wounds, still confused how I got ahead of him. But here's the truth: when you plot against someone who trusted you, don't be shocked when they outsmart you.